we advise you that you might want to deactivate your video feed so that your image will not appear on the recording. So please take the time to do that. And Professor Klein, will you be recording that on your end, or shall I do it?
I hit record already, so.
Okay, great. So for those of you who are joining this recording right now, you see some of the important points on the screen, and that Professor Klein and I have been meeting with various people and getting communications from um, uh, people above our pay grade and exerting pressure on us to make sure that our advanced coursework, our methods courses, and us, the student teaching, well, yeah, the methods courses and the student teaching are completed earlier than might otherwise be the case. There'll be individual advisement for everyone. Situations vary from person to person, but we would like to move people earlier into the our advanced coursework, and so that everybody has taken the advanced coursework, the methods courses, not necessarily the student teaching or the practicum, but our methods courses by the end of fall semester of 2026. There are
Correct.
some, go
I'm
please.
sorry, just say some of the foundations courses will still be offered. So something like the assessment course or the cultural and linguistic diversity course, the social and historical foundations. They'll be offered. You'll be mixed with other programs if you choose to put those backward. And from experience, I've worked with teaching fellows. We've had those courses where students take them later, and it's good to have the foundation, but it's theory work, so you could theoretically do it a little later. Go ahead.
Yes, and there are some things that we must observe when it comes to the foundational courses. In order to take any of our advanced coursework, you certainly would need to take those initial prerequisites when you come into our department. The Child Development course, CEDF 709, and our Foundations course in SPED 700.5. And before you take our math methods course in SPED, math methods for kids with learning disabilities, but as you know, professors Turner and Klein, when they're teaching the course, they mix in a lot with regards to mental health because 40% of kids with learning disabilities also have mental health challenges. So we'd like you to have that Gen Ed math course, if you're in the dual certification program, that Gen Ed math course under your belt before you enter our advanced coursework in special
Let
ed.
me, yeah,
Yes.
let me jump in. And I've asked the powers that be if they would try to add more seats in the summer. So the trick is that you have to be quick on the trigger. So when you get a chance to register, you register as fast as you can. And if you can't get into a section, you can reach out to one of us. I don't guarantee that we're going to be able to move the mountains, but we'll try for you.
Right. So they will try to offer more spots for us, more general ed coursework spots during the summer. And yes, they pledge to help us out, but if you find yourself having difficulty enrolling in summer coursework in the Gen Ed summer coursework, do contact us.
Yeah, but don't put it off because we can't help you if it's too late. They really won't, respond to us if you're registering late.
Right. And the next 2 points you see here, before you take the study of behavior disorders or methods in BD, we ask that you complete SPED 702. Some of the, 750, 751, they're advanced classroom management. So we'd like you to have the introductory classroom management strategies taken care of first. And before you take our reading course, SPED 781.5, we would like you to take, of course, the Gen Ed reading course so that you're familiar with the standard practices before you get into the advanced practices with regards to reading. And I'll let Professor Klein take over here and with regards to student teaching and practicum.
Okay, so theoretically, you should take all the gen ed coursework and most of your methods before practicum. Sometimes there's a moment where you might be taking a methods course with the practicum, especially if you're taking a large course load. The one thing that the is required by across the the School of Ed is that you take the CST exams, the content specialty in childhood, the EAS, and that you do that before you apply, because once you apply, there really isn't that much latitude to put those off. They need the scores. But one good piece of news from New York State is that they're lower. There's a safety net, meaning you can pass with a slightly lower score. So that's really good news. The methods courses, you really should take one of those before you get into the practicum. The gen ed coursework, you could try to put those under your belt in the summer if you're so inclined. We're hoping, to wiggle a few more spots out of them. The one course that I forgot to talk about is if you're in the dual cert, you have to take that gen ed placement called CDC 729. I don't think it's up there, but I can put it in the chat. Gen ed
Yes,
coursework. Hmm?
CEDC 729. It's the 1 credit fieldwork course in general education.
And you can take that any semester. They do have it in the summer. It's not online. You have to go to a school, and I believe they use the Go project. The Go project is like a tutoring center. Um, but it's not an online course, so you have to dedicate yourself either during the school year or the summer.
All right. Well, any questions here? I know we had one in the chat earlier. Has registration already started for summer? I have not heard anything regarding that. Typically, um, we see that come through our email in April, mid to late April.
Right. One thing I must say about certification, when you graduate, if you have a childhood, you're going for childhood ed, you can go back and not even go back. You can apply to the state to get the P through 12, even though you didn't go through the program. It's about $100. And I would do it just because even if you don't think you ever want to teach high school or preschool, get every certification you can, even if it's $100, because time goes by and the state doesn't open that opportunity. They usually stick another test in. So I would quickly get that just for $100.
And having tool certifications, if you decide to move out of state, your chances of meeting the requirements of other states are much better. So if anyone would want to unmute or enter in the chat some questions or comments, we'd be glad to address them.
Oh, I see about 729. Chris, if you're teaching a gen ed or you're para in a gen ed or even an ICT, integrated co-teaching, you can go get a letter from the school where you worked from, and you can go apply. There's probably a Google form on the School of Ed website to get a waiver. If you've been in a self-contained class, that doesn't apply.
Right. Needs
Um,
to be an inclusive classroom for a year.
yeah. Carmen asks, can you get, yes, absolutely. You can get the P through 12 cert in addition to the childhood ed cert, and that's what the $100 would be for. You can when you select your certifications, they can help you with that. Nora or your School of Ed liaison can help you with when you get your certification. Check the P through 12 off, and in addition to your childhood special ed.
And we understand that people who have childhood special ed certification have applied for P to 12 certification and received it. Mhm. And we have another question here. Will upper level classes like it must be 724.5 and 723.5 are teaching writing and are teaching math courses. Will they be offered in the fall? Our methods courses are offered in either the fall or the spring. And I can show, let's see here. A, whoops. There we go. You'll see as you look at this listing of our courses that our advanced coursework is each course is offered in either the fall or the spring. So you'll see 723.5, 724.5. They're offered in the fall along with SPED 750. And in the spring, you'll find our SPED 751 and 781.5.
And also the Google Classroom that we set up, there's program trackers that are for your use. I made them PDFs, so you have to print them out. That's so nobody will change them. But you can find when courses are offered, suggested times. You can make notes on it. I have made them for single cert and dual cert, and there's nobody here from advanced cert, but they're there too. Um, so go to that Google Classroom because it's in place of what used to be our Blackboard. We don't have Blackboard anymore, and we're starting fresh. That means checking your School of Ed Gmail, which everybody tells you not to use. You don't use it to write personal stuff, but you can write, hey, I want to meet with Klein, or I want to meet with McIntyre. I want to look at the stuff that's posted there. If you have personal or even student stuff, usually write that on the Outlook. Question that Carmen had. You don't need to take classes to obtain that license at the end of your program. You don't right now. Now, the people coming in, that's a different story, but they're not you. I wouldn't worry about them. But if you want to go into the P through 12, it's P through 12 as opposed to K through 12. Dr. Mack can talk to you about that.
Mhm. And interestingly, I see in the chat here, someone who's a paraprofessional was told by Dr. O'Leary that they cannot waive 729. And then we have a question, well, what if you're a teaching assistant or an assistant teacher?
I think there's semantics about assistant teacher. Assistant teacher, if you're an educator, then you can apply for it. If you're a school aide, like people who walk kids to the bus and things like that, that's not applicable. And if you work in a DOE school, you might be either one. If you work in a private school or a Catholic school, you're probably an educator and you probably can apply. Now they can turn you down. Um, but if you have worked in a gen ed setting and you have the right paperwork, you're probably okay. I mean, they could turn you down because it's late or you didn't work long enough. But chances are, it could go through. If you've only worked with kids with autism or something, they won't give you credit because it has to be a gen ed placement of sorts.
And being a substitute teacher will not suffice unless you've been substituting for a year in an inclusive classroom.
Right. And the new tracker does have a list of when you should take the courses or suggestions. My answer to you is earlier is better, not early when you walk through and sit in Hunter for the first time. There are programs that make you do that, but as soon as you can start taking definitely the CST, the EAS. The EAS, I've never heard anybody fail, but the CST takes a little bit of content knowledge.
Mm. And it was pointed out in the chat that we can always consult with Nora McCormick, who is our School of Ed administrator who assists us in advising students and jumping through the flaming hoops oftentimes placed before you. And we can always reach out to her for clarification regarding policies of the School of Ed and the New York State.
Yeah, do reach out to her for certification because certification tends to change often. Um, just last week, I found that there's a safety net on the exams. So we are in constant contact with her, but she is the certification person who will, work with you on teach account and things like that.
All right. Anything else that someone would like to voice or write in the chat?
Wait, so sorry, just for some clarification. So
Hmm.
for that course that we were all talking about, the CEDC 729,
Mhm.
like I understand that you need to have a placement, but are you still able to like maintain a full-time job while you do that?
So there are a couple of choices. If you do it during the school year, you may or may not, depending on what time the after school program is. So you want to find out through Robin. If you do it in the summer, there are a little more choices. But I don't think there are that many classes that run after school that you could observe. Keep in mind that it's very short in the summer. It's a couple of weeks, if that much. So it's like if you have to take a couple of weeks off just to get this under your belt, you might have to. But hopefully, the after school program will jive with your hours. But Robin knows the detail because she works, Robin O'Leary, because she works with the Go Project, so she knows their hours.
Yes, and can clarify any of your questions, or like, for example, how many days will you be spending in the school, and can you be placed in a school in the borough in which you live, and that sort of thing. That all goes to Dr. O'Leary.
Right,
Mhm.
right. There's another question in here. Let's see. Chris is asking about the urgency of these exams. The only urgency is space them out, take them early, and you have to get them done before student teaching. And I would say even before you apply for student teaching, because if you don't pass one of them, I'm not saying you won't, but you have to prepare. And we've had a couple of circumstances where teachers uh, thought they had time to take the exam, and the exam was only given, like, let's say, once every 3 months, and they took it, they failed, and they couldn't get into student teaching because they failed. So I don't want to look at it negatively. I'm just telling you that it's better to do it ahead of time. And a lot of programs make you do it when you first come in, like teaching fellows. So I'd say putting it off is not a good plan.
All right, give me just a second here. I want to thank you. Oh, wait, we do have another entry into the chat.
Yeah,
Oh,
CDC 729, you can't take that one early. You have to take that one a little later after you have most of the gen eds under your belt. They will not let you, this is not our thing, they will not let you take that course like before you take the other courses, the gen eds. So you should remember that do all the C's first, and then that one will be the one that you should take. The trackers give you a good suggested timeline for when to take the that course and the student teaching.
yes, and that fieldwork course 729, my understanding is you must have taken all the other courses or be taking the the rest of the courses, the remaining courses during the 729 fieldwork.
Right, the gen ed courses, they just don't let you in
Oh, yes,
without
Janet.
those.
All right.
Yeah.
And a couple more have magically appeared. SPED 702 is offered it's offered spring and fall. There is talk of offering it in the summer. I'm not sure what the vote was on that, whether to offer it during the summer or not, but spring and fall definitely, perhaps summer in the future.
Right. This summer it's not offered for this cohort. It's only offered for the adolescent cohort, and it's a different course altogether. So
Mhm.
I mean, they may add it, but if I were you, I'd take that one during the school year right now and try to get the gen eds off your plate.
And there was another question there about contacting Nora McCormick. And yes, do let her know that you're part of the BD program. She also advises and helps out the LD program. We've had some issues recently with the wrong coursework being posted on the School of Ed website, wrong courses for our BD program, and even had a few of our students who applied for graduation being told that they didn't complete their program. And when you look at it, they're being judged on the LD courses. Nora is great for making things right and informing the powers that be that you're in the BD program and you have completed all your coursework when you apply for graduation.
Yeah, as far as the website goes, they are in the process of correcting it, and um, it's somewhat corrected now. It will be corrected a little bit better, which is sad, but that went all the way through CUNY, not us. But the trackers on the Google Classroom work, and as always, if you meet with Dr. Mack or even, meet with me, it's better to do a face-to-face than, like anything else, to really go over the courses that you need. And you don't have
Indeed,
to come in person. You don't have to come in person, right?
that's right. Uh, in fact, yeah, Zoom has made things very convenient. But as it comes time to enroll in courses for the next semester, even though you're certain which courses it ought to be, check in with us, and just verify that indeed everything is as it ought to be.
Yeah, definitely. And I did it again. I asked for seats. I put my pitch in while I had the assistant dean's ear about something else. And I asked for science. Um, I asked for everything, but I might have left out the reading because the gen ed reading, because it tends to be offered a lot. But again, the trick is if you see it and there's an opening, add it to your cart. You may want to drop it, but that sounds terrible, but add it anyway. It's like what I do when I go shopping for clothes. Um, you know, that way nobody, because once you start asking for an over tally, people will probably not work with that because summer, there's a lot of people who want to take courses.
Mhm. And professors, is it saying, gee, I think I'd like to take on more work. No. So yeah, so get your spot. All right. At this point, we just
Spring?
whoops.
Oh, 723. No,
Good.
those 723.5 5 and 4 are not offered in spring. They're only offered, all those math and writing, the 2 credit courses are offered in spring. Winter is always like a very sparse situation, and winter courses are usually only the health course, the HED course.
Oh, that's another monkey wrench they've thrown into the works. That the HED 715, the health ed course, is no longer offered at Hunter College. And you can contact me as to, well, how do I take it? Where do I take it? Is it online? But no longer offered at Hunter.
Good to know. And do see me about student teaching when you get near, or that you don't even have to wait till you get near. I mean, if it's your first semester or second semester, that's not even worth a conversation. But as soon as you get 1 year under your belt, talk to me.
All right. And at this point, we just say, hey, have a great weekend. Thanks for dropping by and spending part of it with us. And we'll see you whenever you have an advisement question.
Thanks,
Bye
everybody.
bye.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. Something
Stop
in
the
the
recording. Where is it? I don't even think I pressed record. Oh no, I did.